but just 20% of businesses fail in the first year, 50% in the fifth year, and 90% of all restaurants fail eventually.
He's like, so you're telling me I can just read all these books, and this is all these people's knowledge of all the mistakes that they've made and the path they've taken, all right here.
Yeah.
Why am I not reading all day long?
Welcome to Inside the Hive with Kyle and Brandon. Join us as we explore business, real estate, current events, and personal growth. We dive into the latest trends, offer valuable insight, and share stories. Thanks for tuning in. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of Inside the Hive with Kyle and Brandon. We're here today to talk about some startups. Starting a business, starting it for the first time. And what I did is looked up some facts that they're random facts about a startup business. Some are good, some are bad. And I wanted to see, because of our background, of what we've done for over a decade, just so everybody knows that's listening to this, is we had a construction management firm for 12 years. And that construction management firm, what we did is we assisted in the design and build of startups, of new businesses opening their brick and mortar locations. Mm-hmm. And you were running a lot of project management with that for a long time. So you've seen it all.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one. This sounds kind of fun, and we have seen a lot, and I don't know the answers or the questions. So curious to see if I can answer them correctly.
See if your experience matches up with what we say right here. Okay. So the first one is something that we'll just jump right into it. But a big thing about startups, the failure rate.
Yeah.
So what do you think a new startup business, the percentage of failure within the first year and by the fifth year?
Okay. I remember reading how to start a business for dummies one time, and it did tell me that 90-something% fail within that first year. After 5 years, maybe another 70% fail within the first 50% in 5 years. 90 in 1, 50 in 5.
So you're kind of half right. Okay. So over 90% of restaurants fail in the first year. Restaurants, but actual just businesses in general, only 20.
Only 20%.
But then
fail.
20%. But then by the fifth year, 50% fail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only 20% in the first year, so they make it that long.
So 20% the first year, it seems like they make it through that first year, they get enough saved up.
Yeah.
And after that, they start to fall off.
Because definitely in the restaurant thing, it's like they might not even make it that first year. Like they just run out of money or the build out.
Exactly. And to correct it, it says 90% of restaurants fail. It actually doesn't say the first year for restaurants.
Okay.
But just 20% of business fail in the first year, 50% in the fifth year, and 90% of all restaurants fail eventually.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Well, that was shocking to me.
Depressing.
It is depressing.
Yeah.
I'd like to find another stat of maybe like why they fail. But anyway, the next one. Funding sources. Many startups are initially funded by blank.
Personal savings. I would say even the people, well, I have been seeing a lot of people getting loans and stuff if they're a little more business savvy, but it seems a lot of them just dig deep and personal savings.
Personal savings it is.
Oh, nice.
77% of small businesses rely on the founder's personal funds.
Which, some advice, there are loans out there to get started with this stuff. You have SBA and traditional commercial bank loans. So you don't need to use all of your savings. You need a little portion of them.
You can borrow some from a friend, some family members. Take on an investor.
Put a business plan together.
Yeah.
Maybe someone will give you money.
I mean, we've seen before people put in their life savings and then 2 years later, they're not doing so well.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to take a risk, but.
You got to take a risk. Yeah. There's no risk, no reward.
Yeah.
Okay. Entrepreneur age. The average age of a successful, startup founder is?
I think it's older than I would think. Even though our headlines say it's, we read about all the tech guys and these kids in their 20s and they're just killing it. But I feel like most of them probably like get a career going and then go off and try and start something. So I'd say like late 30s, early 40s, maybe.
45.
Yeah?
45. That is, it's like you, it's like you know what you're talking about over here. Like you've maybe seen some startups before.
Yeah.
But the average age of a successful startup founder is 45 years old, challenging the stereotype that startups are mostly founded by young entrepreneurs. You're right. It's later in life.
I just made that up too, but it's kind of what we see. But I see a lot of the franchise. I wouldn't say they're startups, but they kind of are. Like they buy into the franchise.
Yeah, they're starting a business. Yeah.
They were going off on their own, but they've got like a little savings. They've got some like maturity.
Yeah. What's that saying about franchises? It's you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. That's what it is. Yeah.
You do have some guidance.
Have a little bit of guidance, but yeah. So that's it.
Nice.
All right. The next one here. Well, this is an interesting one to try to wrap up into a question, I think. But what percentage of business professionals consider networking as the essential step for their career success and to start up their own business?
Oh, wow. What percentage? Maybe only 50% of them think that.
Actually, 80%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
80% give credit to networking amongst people, their peers, to start up their own business.
I think my answer kind of contradicts my last one, where like they're usually a little bit older when they're starting.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like younger generation want to kind of sit behind the computer and send emails and text, but yeah, if they're a little more. I would attribute networking. It's like all who you know,
bouncing ideas off of people.
Yeah, I mean, someone that's done it before.
Someone that's done it, probably talking to other people that just started businesses, joining joining different organizations.
Yeah,
actually, when you and I first started, we were in networking groups and organizations all over the place.
Going to anything that we could find.
Anything we could find that to go and like, yeah.
And we're back doing that again with syndication and the retail world. I mean, we're like back to, re-networking, which is just newer people we need to meet. So
yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. So these are fun. Okay. If you have a mentor, what is the multiple of success that mentor gives the average entrepreneur?
You are 5 times more likely to be successful.
Apparently 3.5, but that's almost triple. Just having a mentor over triples your success rate.
Yeah.
That's like a no-brainer. I feel like.
No, someone that's, I can totally see it.
I can totally see it too.
Avoid the mistakes a little bit.
Don't step in it.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like
that journey is just like, someone told me that early on, like, oh, you're going off on your own. Get ready to make a whole bunch of mistakes. I'm like, no, man, we got this.
Oh, man. I think it's so difficult to replicate someone's path that's already successful, but I think it's a lot easier to not make the mistakes that they made. If you see them make a mistake, it's easier to sidestep that.
Mm-hmm.
Following someone exactly, like their exact recipe, I think that's pretty difficult.
Yeah.
But like
different for everybody. But
it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
But not doing this with your books or doing this with how your sales strategy or something. You can avoid those mistakes.
I even saw this thing recently. Someone talking about like just reading. He's like, so you're telling me I can just read all these books, and this is all these people's knowledge of all the mistakes that they've made and the path they've taken, all right here.
Yeah.
Why am I not reading all day long?
It's a good point.
It's kind of like a mentor. Like we got to put like 5 hours a day in reading. But I'm like, there's some good takeaways there.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. We've read a ton of books too, and you get little nuggets out of them too.
I know.
I mean, they're 200 pages, and it's like, well, I didn't need to read 150 of that, but there's a little chunk in there usually that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of on that mentor thing, but
we'll probably do a little segment eventually here on like our favorite books and how much they influence us.
There's some good ones.
There's a couple that changed our whole business model. We came in here and be like, hey, we got a new way we're doing things. This book just like opened my eyes. So good stuff. So the team composition of a startup. Are startups most likely to succeed with A, single founder, B, co-founders, or C, 3 or more?
3 or more.
Actually, it is co-founders.
Okay.
Co-founders are more likely to succeed than single founders or multiple.
Maybe too many cooks in the kitchen.
Too many cooks in the kitchen, maybe like a marriage or something. You got to like balance it with the integrator, the visionary type of thing. If you're into the EOS systems and stuff,
but that's true. Yeah,
but it's like that combo.
Yeah.
So that's like co-founders
Yeah,
apparently.
each one kind of brings some specialties, and it's enough to you can kind of hire the rest, hopefully. But
Yeah.
shoot, yeah, which I've never had more than 2 partners. So
Yeah, exactly.
Sure,
And the ones
yeah.
when we had multiple partners in the past, they didn't really work out so well.
Yeah.
So that's
true.
that
There's too many
it's
people.
funny. It's like we go through these facts and then we start talking about it. And the exact same thing almost happened to
Yeah.
us a few times. So
It's kind of interesting. Yeah, I should know the answers more.
yeah. Okay. What percentage of startups fail because there was no not proper market research done for their product or service?
Oh wow! So they just go out there like great idea,
Yeah.
going for it, even though there's no demand.
Before you answer this one, we went to a guest speaker for EO or Entrepreneurs Organization, and it was manscaping.
Huh.
And that guy that developed the manscaping, now they're $1 billion company.
Mm-hmm.
And he mentioned he had like 3 or 4 different ideas that he was researching. He had no passion for manscaping. That wasn't his
Mhm.
thing. But he wanted to do so much research, knew there was a gap in the market, and then pounced on that gap and went forward. So it's like the opposite of this. All he did was research first and then went after it.
Yeah,
But saying that big percentage here don't do the proper research.
yeah. I would definitely say it's over 50. Maybe it's 60, 70% of people just go out there with an idea.
42.
Okay, less than 50.
40, less than 50, but it's 42 don't do the thorough enough market analysis and research before they launch.
They're well,
Yeah.
Jack and Dan in it over there.
Yeah,
just
that's
kind of siloed. Right?
Yeah,
A
no
great
kidding.
idea, and didn't talk to anybody. Didn't discover whether there's even a demand for it.
And that's a difficult one to probably guide a young entrepreneur or someone that's starting up, because you don't want the analysis paralysis.
Yeah, I know. I gotta
So
give them credit.
Yeah,
for
you got to
going
get
for
it for going. So
You know, for sure. Yeah.
so
you gotta just
it's-
go, but
half of it, you got to go. The other half is, oh, you didn't do enough research.
yeah,
Where's the balance? So that's a little unfair, but that's tough.
I know. Because I will give you a high five for trying it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you kind of just got to go and start building it as you go, like maybe the pivot or something. But,
Yeah. Hey,
Oh.
pivot's the next one. Look at this. We're on the same page. Been working together a long time. So number 9 out of our top 10 here is pivoting. Okay. What percentage of successful startups have pivoted from their original idea and have made a substantial, what they report as a substantial change to their business model?
50% of them.
90.
Wow.
90. Like Mike Tyson says, man, everybody's got plans
Yeah.
how they get punched in the face. That is true.
90% pivot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, let me ask you this question. If someone asked you what you and I do for a living right now, what would you say? We're a developer?
Sure.
What were we 12 years ago, 13 years ago when we started?
Project manager. Before that, I was crawling around people's attic. Before that,
Look
I
at
don't know
that.
what
Look
I
how
was
much it's
doing.
changed over the 12 years. It's like
How many times even on a monthly, yearly, we pivot?
monthly. Yeah.
I mean, same like business focus, but we've pivoted so many times in different, whatever it is, marketing or sales strategies and all that. So
yeah.
okay,
That's
wow,
wild.
that is kind of crazy.
Got to
But
build the plane on the way down, I guess, huh? Like, wow.
and that shows like that real world like stress test. Like I got this perfect plan. I'm going out.
You just
Walk outside, the wind's blowing. You're like, oh, I didn't think about that part.
There's every
Pretty bad
plan.
analogy.
Oh man, like yeah. All right. What percentage of startups reportedly fail because they run out of cash or fail to raise new capital?
I'd say maybe a lower number than I think, but 40%.
Almost, man. 29.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, approximately 29% of startups fail because they run out of cash or fail to raise enough capital.
Okay.
But we've heard that story quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And just to touch on that just a little bit, when they say run out of capital, a lot of times their build out goes over their budget.
In that industry, yeah.
Yeah, and like say it's
Are these just startups in general?
these
or-
are startups in general.
Okay.
But I think from our experience, like brick and mortar, is we've
Yeah.
designed and built out thousands of stores. Doesn't matter if it's a bank, retail, restaurant. That's what we did for over a
Yeah,
decade before we
yeah.
got into development. And now as a landlord, that's something that we're concerned about. When we have a retail center and someone's going in there, we're like, well, what's your plan for your
Yeah.
tenant improvements? You got reserves for a year for your capital?
I
for
need
your
to see some history on like how you've done this before.
Mhm.
Well, obviously, I mean, we're not
Yeah.
trying to get the startups in there, but
100%.
yeah, that's a concern. Yeah, we've seen that multiple times where these guys run out of money before they even get open. It's scary.
It
right?
is. It is
They
scary.
try to do it themselves, and
Yeah.
that's really what we were there to try to help these people. But
Yeah. Just undercapitalized.
yeah,
And the fastest way you can get undercapitalized, in my opinion, is if you under budget or mismanage your budget. If you have a budget, you think a build out's going to be 500 grand and it ends up being 700 grand because a GC gave you a number that's not accurate.
Mhm.
See ya. You just used up all your operating capital for the next 6 months and you're going out of business before you can even get going.
Yeah, you better hope there's a line out the door every day.
Yeah.
If it's a restaurant or retail. But
Yeah. And we'll get into
that's not
the
reality.
100%. And we'll probably get into this in another segment, but how to utilize debt properly and not use just your
Mhm.
savings, and then you run out and you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, yeah,
Like there's a way to do it properly.
absolutely.
So
And there's a lot of programs out there that want you to start businesses.
yes.
Give back to the communities, get the economy rolling, provide jobs. There's government money for that stuff. So
Yeah.
there's a way to do it, but
It's a small business.
it's hard. I mean, that's hard to either qualify for that or research all that. So
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
A small business is the backbone of the American economy. They want you to succeed. There's a
Of course,
lot
yeah.
of things out there for you.
Yeah.
But you got to take advantage of that.
they don't make it easy. For
They don't make it easy,
It
but
doesn't
it's
mean
a
you
lot of
start
work.
business and it's
Yeah, I didn't say it's
successful.
easy. It's yeah. What was that saying you always used to say?
Oh, what was the book? It was like,
Simple, but
it's simple but not easy,
that's it. It's simple but not easy.
which it is. Start business, sell food, right? This
Yeah.
is easy.
To get ripped, all you got to do is work out and eat right. Like
Yeah,
how simple
I mean,
is that?
it's easy, man. It's simple.
Okay, next one. What is the most common reason cited by startup founders for why their business failed?
Lack of sales.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. It was lack of market need. Let me go through the whole thing. The most common reason cited by startup founders for their business failure is a lack of market need for their product. So basically, they went into a market thinking there was demand, and there wasn't any demand.
So it goes back to the old 40% of them that didn't do the research either.
Yeah. Oh, that number's dead
Right.
on.
Yeah.
You're right. That number is dead on. It is 42%. Oh my gosh, it's the exact same percentage. So 42% didn't do the proper market research and failed, and the exactly 42% of failures are attributed to the lack of demand.
Okay.
So if you don't know the demand,
It is a simple equation again, like the supply demand type
Basic.
of thing. Like,
supply and demand, basic economics.
yeah, business can really be peeled back to that simple economic
Yeah.
concept.
And in personal experience, you and I have had some things that services that we were selling. I thought they were amazing ideas,
I know.
and there just
Well, they
was
actually really were helping.
They were
people, too. It just the demand, like we could not spur the demand for it. They couldn't understand it. Or,
I think that
That's all
individuals
I'm
didn't
saying.
realize that they needed it. They didn't
Yeah.
even realize they needed a construction manager sometimes to build out a restaurant. It's like, I'll just hire a general contractor.
I'll be the construction manager.
I'll
do it
be it
myself.
myself.
I watch Home and Garden TV.
Exactly.
I've seen that. Like, boom, kitchen's done.
So, yeah. And that's
Yeah.
why, and we ended up pivoting, just like this says too. 90% of pivots, 90% of businesses pivot. So,
Fascinating stuff. That's interesting. I mean, I thought I'd get it more, but more right. But no, that's
I liked
pretty
it.
interesting.
I liked it. Well, I guess that wraps up another segment of fun facts about business with Inside the Hive with Brandon and Kyle. And thanks for listening.
Hopefully, you guys learned something about starting a company. Do some research.
Do some research.
Take out a loan.
For sure. And take out a loan. All right.
You'll be successful.